All right, so once again, we're coming back to 8.2 now. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
All right, so once again, 8.1, we got to take a look at one of the costing methods, FIFO. Now we are in 8.2 where we're looking at how to utilize Lifo when we're dealing with perpetual inventory. So if you want a quick summary of this, it's exactly everything that we just did today, but instead of taking it from the top to the bottom, we're going to exercise using the last ones that came in first, or the last ones that came in, and we're going to eliminate those ones first. So exactly the same concept, except we're using LIFO. Last ones in are the first to go. So with that being said, we've mentioned it before, the formulas are going to be identical to your previous one. So the FIFO method is identical to the LIFO method. Nothing different. Okay? So let's go ahead and dive right into the example here. So if on June 1st, we made a purchase of 100 toys at $1.25 with a freight of $25, we're going to plug it right into our inventory worksheet. Okay? Just like what we did before, instead we skip over section 1, which is our cost of goods sold, and go right into our purchases. So if we purchase 100 items at $1.25, what is my total purchase price? $125 plus my $25 freight, $150, bringing our cost per item to be $1.50. Good. Oh, don't worry about that. So once again, because I want to teach you using colors, I'm going to associate this as red. Okay, that's my first batch. Okay. So then next thing that happened was you end up selling 55 toys. So in this case, if I'm looking at my inventory worksheet, in this case, I can't apply my LIFO method because I only have one batch. And if I only have one batch, that's the only one you're going to eliminate from. So in this case, this is going to be universal. If you only have one batch, then you only have one batch to take from, which is the cost per item here is $150. So once again, you only have one batch. So you're going to calculate that to be the $82.50. And once again, we're going ahead and eliminate it from our batch right away. So in this case, once we eliminate that 55 items at $82.50, we should have a remaining red batch of 45 items at $67.50. Okay. So then, what has happened next? We ended up making another purchase of 100 toys for $1.28. Okay, so again, we skip our little cost of goods sold because we made purchases of inventory. So here, what's my total purchase price going to be?
$128.
Okay, plus my freight of 26, 154, making my cost per item to be $1.54. Now, once again, I'm going to associate this as yellow. Okay. Now, let's notice this. Now we have two different batches. We got a red batch for 45, and we have a yellow batch for 100. And now we have actual batches to associate and for us to be able to use the LIFO method, right? So if I were to sell something right now, which batch am I going to be taking out from?
Yellow.
The yellow, because of the LIFO rule. So as we go through our purchases, whatever comes out or whatever we purchase last, that's what you're going to do for every time we sell our items. okay? So, but in this case, I'm just recognizing that I purchased a new batch of inventory and I made it yellow. So then, once again, on June 10, we decided to purchase another batch of 100 items. So in this case, I plug my numbers in and I'm making it green this time. So now I'm introducing a third batch. So in this case, when I sell my items, what batch am I going to take out away from now?
The green.
We're going to take directly from the green. So again, same exact calculations, except now we're switching up our cost of goods sold. Now that we realize that we have a bunch of batches, we need to start taking it from the bottom or the most recent batch that we purchased and eliminate from there. Okay? So in this case, my next scenario is that on June 12th, I sold 120 items. Okay? If I sold 120 items, which batch am I going to be taking out from first? Which we made an association, right? We're going to eliminate the green batch. And now we're also going to dip into our second batch, which is the yellow batch. So in this case, right, my green came first. I'm eliminating the whole entire 100. And therefore, I need to eliminate another additional 20 out of my yellow batch, right? So in this case, I already know how much my green batch is worth, right? It's going to give me $1.57, giving me a total of 157. Boom, I can eliminate that right away. So there you go, I got rid of my green batch. Okay. Then next, I know that I sold 20 items and I'm going to eliminate it from my yellow batch of $1.54, which if I calculate it is going to give me $30.80. So right from this, once again, I'm going to eliminate that 20 items to give me a now new grand total of 80 items in my yellow batch. All right? And once again, if I look at my scenario, it should tell me that I should have 125 items left in my inventory, which in this case I do. I have 45 for my red, I have 80 from my yellow, and here it is. Boom. I have now 125 left in my inventory on hand. Okay? So good for me so far? All right. So then, when we have beginning inventory, the same thing's going to happen once again. Whatever I have from my previous batch, which is my red batch of 45 and my yellow batch at 80, right? I'm going to transfer that information right over into my new inventory worksheet. So here I have 2 batches, and the next time I sell something, I'm going to always associate the last batch that I've purchased. Okay, so here I transfer my beginning balance right here. And then now I'm going to go ahead and look at my scenario. So I end up selling another 90 toys for $5 each on the 18th of June. So once again, I sold 90. So in this case, I'm going to be dipping into both my yellow account and my red account because yellow only has 80. Which I know already by calculating, right? It should be 123.20. So therefore, I'm going to eliminate that right away from my inventory worksheet, right? To bring my balance now to 0 for my yellow. It doesn't exist anymore. So then, now I need to take away 10 more from my red batch because it's the only batch I have left. And that's going to give me $15 even, which then I subtract that out from my red batch to give me now a remaining red batch for 35 at a grand total at $52.50. So here I'm just working backwards. Everything is the same except when I cost my goods sold, I'm working from the bottom to the top. That's the only difference between FIFO and Lifo. But when we move into moving average, which is if we have time tomorrow, it's going to scrap every idea that we've learned throughout this entire time. Okay? So here is my ending balance for that transaction right there. I have 35 remaining from my red badge, and I only have my red badge remaining. Okay? So then, once again, on the 21st, we end up purchasing another 100 toys for $1.32. And then same thing on June 25th, we end up purchasing an additional 100 toys for $1.35. So once again, we're going to plug those numbers in, right? And once again, I'm going to choose a color to associate this with. So I chose blue. And then again, the next scenario, we enter the information in. Boom, I'm making it orange. So now I still have 3 batches, right? My red one came first, my blue one came second, and my orange came last. Okay? So now, what happens when I sell on June 27th? I sold 120 toys. All right? So what am I going to do here?
You're gonna take 100 from your last batch,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're gonna take 20 from the blue batch.
Good. So once again, my grand total is 120 that I eliminated, right? I'm going to use the LIFO rule, right? Orange was my last batch that I purchased. So since I needed to sell a total of 120 toys, immediately I eliminate my orange batch, right? Which we know is 162 even. No calculation necessary. So therefore, I'm going to take it right out from my inventory to associate that I no longer have an orange batch anymore. So now, I still have 20 remaining to sell. My cost per item is going to be whatever the blue batch is, which is $1.58. Multiply it, you get $31.60. Then, once I get this number, I'm going to go ahead and eliminate it from there to get me a new ending balance in my blue to be 80 items, right? At 126.40. Okay. Last but not least, we made another sale of 65 toys. So once again, we're going to eliminate from which batch?
Blue.
We're going to eliminate from the blue. So there it is, 158 times the 65 to get you 102.70. We're going to eliminate that from the blue batch to give us a remaining balance in my blue to be the 15 items at $23.70. Okay? And if you guys remember from this scenario, if you briefly remember it, I should have a total of 50 items remaining in my inventory. And what do you know? If you add the 35 from the red plus the 15 from the blue, that gives you your 50 items remaining at the end of this. Okay? And that is it for LIFO. So, same thing is going to be applied for the worksheet, except, once again, we're just calculating it a slightly different. All right? Any questions? Okay? So, once again, tomorrow, we'll go ahead and dive into our exercises. So tomorrow, we should be able to finish both scenarios within the first half and then maybe introduce you to 8.3. But I'm going to tell you right now, 8.3 is going to be absolutely much more easier than all of this. Okay? So,
I'd rather have I can see why, because I'd rather have a weighted average.
yes.
Having to go back and forth or forwards and backwards, yeah.
Correct. And that's exactly why 8.3 should not take you long at all. Okay?